Hello everybody, my name is STS and today I'll be giving you guys an 8.1 Survival Hunter PvP guide. Now I know it's been a while since 8.1 has launched, but I wanted to personally wait until the new season came out so the extra ring of primary traits that we received for the new season came out, and also to see if any Azerite changes happened, which big overlapping changes, and I also wanted to wait for the tournament realm to come up so I'd had access to all this extra gear to test out traits more often and just see what really is the best combination of gear. So this guide won't be as in-depth as the last guide was, just because really I don't need to reiterate what races are good, I don't need to go over in-depth over everything because it's all in the other guide already and nothing much has changed when it comes to the baseline. The major things that have changed for survival is a couple PvP talent choices and then mainly just traits you want to get for. So we'll just kick it off. I'll just go over baseline the top two races for each faction. For Alliance, the top two races are Dark Iron Dwarf and Human. Not much has changed. Dark Iron Dwarf's Fireblood ratio is insanely strong against stock classes, or against Assassinox Ferals, really strong. And then Human with the extra stun break and the ability to play Relentless into Rogue Mage is very strong. And then for Horde, the best two races are Orc for the stun reduction and Troll for the Voodoo Shuffle and for the haste buff. They get the Berserking 10% haste. Now we'll go over the talents. There are going to be two talent builds I'm going to go over here. So the first one we'll go over is the basic one, the one I think you should run at all times. You run Viper's Venom, Guerrilla Tactics. You can run Camouflage or Natural Mending, a Murder of Crows, Post Haste, Mongoose Bite, and Fire Infusion. This is your baseline. This is your baseline talents. This is what you'll normally run in arena. This is what you'll see mostly every other hunter in arena runs. And the other build you can run, which will take some getting used to and will take a certain trait combination, is instead of Viper's Venom, you play Alpha Predator, and instead of Murder of Crows, you play Bloodseeker. Now, we're gonna go over some traits real quick, just to tell you what traits are good. So if you're playing the Viper's Venom Crows build, I recommend trying to get triple lane poison on all of your gear. So you want lane poison on your helmet, you want lane poison on your shoulders, you want lane poison on your chest. Then I recommend trying to snag yourself one Wilderness Survival for the cooldown reduction on your Wildfire Bomb, and to snag one Primal Intuition for the extra focus gain and the little crit buff you get. The crit buff's not huge, it's more of the extra focus is insanely good for smoothing out rotation and making goes easier. If you have a full focus bar going in, you can get more. You can get about 2 to 3 extra Mongoose Bites otherwise than you could have without this trait. And then for the sixth trait, the last one, you can go with Bonded Souls. You can go with Dire Consequences, Serrated Jaws, Venomous Fang. Really, the sixth trait doesn't matter too much. So if you really want to, like I do in this one set, is I actually focus on this tier of trait for the Night Nature Salve for the cooldown reduction and extra healing from Exhilaration. But it pretty much is you want triple lane poison, you want a wilderness survival, and you want a primal intuition. Now, for the alpha predator and bloodseeker build, you're gonna want to run these traits. Now they're gonna sound really weird, but these have seen some success on EU. I've been trying to test them out myself. They don't seem too bad. So the major traits you want is you want one wilderness survival for the cooldown reduction, and then you want 3 venomous fangs and 2 serrated jaws. Serrated Jaws and Venomous Fangs are your best traits for this, because the entire build is completely based around your pet. You get the extra kill command damage from Serrated Jaws, you get the extra basic attack damage from your pet when you have Serpenting up, so it's really a pet-heavy build. It's for just the spam kill commands, it has decent range damage. I'm going to have more testing, so I'll have more proof, I'll have more of a solid conclusion on what I think of the build, but I've seen this have some success on the EU, so I thought I'd bring you guys to attention. Maybe you can test it out and let me know how you think of it compared to the typical Viper's Venom Crows build with lane poisons. And so that's pretty much all it is for traits, talents. Your stat priority is still the same. You still want haste versatility, with haste being your #1 priority. But if you don't have to enchant haste anymore, because right now I'm full 415 item level, everything. My neck is insanely high item level right now, and I have 25.5% haste. So, and that's with 2 ring enchants. So you could probably go with 2 versatility chants and a versatility weapon enchant, or you could try to maybe take away some of the haste, go for more verse, or go for more maybe mastery for some reason. But your main stats are haste, verse, and you kind of interchange them with your enchants if you want, which one you want to stack more. Now, I'm gonna go over your best trinkets for Hunter right now, and your best 2 trinkets is the Sinister Gladiator's Maldic. It's a very strong trinket. You've probably seen it in your own arena games. You've seen it on the tournaments. You've seen it on streams. Very powerful trinket. It's a 1.5 second like delayed cast. You hit it, takes 1.5 seconds, lands on your opponent, hits them for a certain amount, 22k in this case for my trinket. Has a chance to crit that damage, and then puts up a big 70k healing absorb. That is dispellable, but the strength of Maldix is when you have 2 to 3 on a team, what you do is you Maldic, the healer dispels it, and then you throw another one at him, and you throw another one at him. So it's a lot of healing absorb they still have to deal with no matter what. And then for your other trinkets, you have the Sinister's Gladiator's Badge, which is really good if you want to focus on burst. And then your second trinket, if you want to focus on more consistent damage, overall just doing more pressure, Sinister Gladiator's Medallion is the way to go. So next, we're going to talk about the PvP talents. Now, the major change that's happened with the PvP talents since last patch is that survival tactics is needed in a lot of situations, and that is because of the Sinister Gladiator's Maldic. Maldic is so strong that you actually need a spell from Feign Death to help your healer out with it. So say you're fighting Rogue Mage Priest, and you have to play Rorschach because they're fire, and then you need to play Mending Bench because it's Sass Rogue, and then hey, you're like, I want to play Styrosync for the Mage, or I want to play Tracker's Net for the Rogue. You don't have that option anymore just because if you know you're gonna be a target, like if you fought the same RP already on ladder, if you fought the same team before and you know they're gonna go you, and you know they have 2 Maldics at least, you have to play survival tactics because you're just gonna lose. They're gonna have a go where they Maldic back to back after the spell, and if you don't have a Feint Death for at least one of them, you're out of luck. You just lose the game. They force a cool. They don't necessarily lose the game, but they get a lot more than they would have normally had if you were just survival tactics and rotating dispels with your healer. So that's the major change in talents. Viper's Venom also has become a lot stronger recently due to the resurgence of Resto Druids into the meta. So Viper Sting is a 30% healing reduction done by a target you put it on, and it's really strong against R druids because you either have to dispel it or you have to cast a heal to remove it. Instant cast heals do not remove Viper Sting, so you can't rejuve, can't life bloom, can't swift mend. So what you can do against R druids is you get your Tim trap, and at the last 3 seconds of the trap, you throw a Viper's Venom out. So then the last 3 seconds of Hot Sarik, and then when he comes out of that trap, if he wants to swift man his guy back to full, it's reduced by 30% on top of your Mortal Strike pet. So overall, Viper's Venom is a lot better now that Resto Druids are back, but it's still, say you're fighting a Sassrogue R Druid, and you run into a situation where it's like, and you know they both have double Maldic, you run into a situation where you probably need survival tactics over Viper Sting. So the next thing we're going to be going over is we're going to be going over the top comps for Survival Hunters in 8.1. So the top comps right now for twos is pretty much R Druid Hunter, Disc Hunter, Holy Pally Hunter. Those are your top 3. Disc Hunter is good as well, but it's pretty much the same. R Druid's the best since R Druid's now a really strong healer. And then it comes like Disc Priest and Holy Pally, the Mistweaver. But a comp that has made is really good right now is actually Feral Druid Hunter. Now, Feral Druid Hunter, with the new changes to Ferals in 8.1, with them having Cyclone, is that the comp can actually last a while. Because say you fight Fury Warrior Mistweaver, you can actually kite the Fury Mistweaver, for a decent bit until you either eventually the Mistweaver, which is the hunter doing a bunch of damage, and him just slowly having to heal through it for dampening, or just by winning as you just get an opening where he has no trinket and no cocoon, and he just dies in a stun. Because you have your trackers on the warrior, you have feral roots on the warrior. If you rot, you have knock trap on the warrior. You have Intimidation Stun, you have Freezing Trap, and you have Cyclone. You have a bunch of CCs to this warrior. So unless they get a kill pretty early on, the longer the match goes on, the more likely you are to win, and you can extend it as long as you want. And so the Feral Hunter, very strong. Rat Hunter, probably still pretty decent, but if you're looking for a double DPS comp, I recommend Feral Hunter 100% of the way. And then for threes comps, your best comps are Rat Hunter Priest and Feral Hunter Priest. It's the same thing as it was last season, except Rat Hunter's a lot closer now to jungle in terms of viability because Ferals have lost a lot of their big damage, their big 80k bites. They lost that. They gained Cyclone, but Ferals right now are in a situation that if they're getting trained, they don't really get to do much damage, and they're also not spamming Cyclone because they have to sit in Bear. And then when they are doing damage, it's not very impactful damage. You know, you're not when you're letting a Feral do whatever he wants. The thing that's impactful is him spamming clones, not him doing damage. So Jungle Cleave has lost some of its strength, and then also with the meta right now, it's really bad. Like our Druid is super hard for Jungle Cleave since you've lost the big bite. Since Jungle Cleave's like this kind of like weird consistent damage comp that has decent burst windows, but it's not the burst windows of like the 70k bites you were getting last season. So that's where Ret Hunter, I think personally, is just a little bit better because it has the big burst window, so it can kill through Archroot healing. Because Archroot healing is really good against consistent damage and very low burst because it just heal over times. And then if they don't die and your stun trap go, he can just swift med Iron Bark get them back up. But if you're a hunter and you're just doing so much damage that maybe he doesn't even live to get the guy's not even gonna live until before the trap even gets there, it's really hard for them to live. They have to use a bunch of defensive cooldowns to recover. So that's why I think Red Hunter is a little bit more even now. I'll just go over some macros I find pretty useful, just the typical ones. I think it's very important for players to have War Sacrifice for their DPS, for the healer, and then for themselves. I also find it very important to have Self Master's Call, Healer Master Call, and DPS Master Call. Very useful keybinds. Makes it easier. Makes you less likely. And with 8.1, we finally have a focus intimidation macro that works because intimidation has finally been changed to work like kill command, where it's not based off pet attack, it's its own spell. And that's your most important one is focus and Tim, because then you can focus and Tim. You have your focus harpoon. You have your freezing trap macro. It's a lot easier for hunters to actually get CC on their own because Tim is now a reliable stun for them to get traps out of. Other macros, it's really it. Making sure you have like stop casting at least once or twice in like turtle macros. Say you're randomly casting a pet res or something like that. It's not really relevant to survival, but having stopped casting in macros for macros such as aspect of the turtle and maybe like feign death or something if you're trying to live, it's very useful just because you don't want to be caught like resing your pet and then all of a sudden you die because you're hitting your turtle macro and you're not canceling it, and it takes a step out of having to hit escape or having a separate keybind or just even like trying to move and cancel it. Other than that, those are pretty much the macros. They stay the exact same. Um, that's pretty much all the useful macros. Obviously, there's the mending bandage macro to heal other people, but macros stay the same. Not much has changed for Hunter. The only thing that's changed for Hunter is the Azerite changes, because with the 50% nerf to every Azerite change, like every trait is not the same but halved in PvP, it brought up Latent Poison because Latent Poison was nerfed by 30% in 8.0, and it was already still a pretty competitive trait. Like it was still technically your best trait because it was competing with battlefield precision slash focus, which is your best trait. And then it only got nerfed by 20% while every other trait got nerfed by 50. So it just bursts out ahead in terms of just what is good. But with the Alpha Predator Bloodseeker build, Venomous Fang and Serrated Jaws is good because it's a lot of pet damage, and Serrated Jaws has just gotten buffed recently, so that helps the build out a lot as well. That's pretty much gonna do it. I know it's not a really long guide, not really in depth. So if you guys have any questions in the comments, or if you want to hit me up on Twitter, on Twitch, you feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions I didn't cover in here. Um, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for helping. Hit this like the video. It helped me out a lot. And I'll potentially make a marksman guide or a BM guide. I'm more lean towards marksman because marksman in 8.1 is a little bit more viable. Like you can actually get decent rating with it. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.